things. If you remember semispinalis straight up the back of the neck, something I like to do for that, I'm taking my hand under her neck, curling my fingers under and pressing up into that muscle with the fingertips. So making sure I'm past the spine and pressing up into that usually kind of ropey band of tight fibers up the back of the neck. I guess I could angle out for splenius. So really what I do in practice is I look for wherever I can feel some tight tissues, some tight muscle fibers going this way, and I press up into them. And you know that they extend the head, and so a couple of ways to stretch them out. So that one version of pin and stretch now, I'm pinning them with the hand underneath, and I can get some stretch. This is one way of lengthening them, by just resting my other hand on her shoulder and leaning in toward her feet. I could also stretch them, since they do extension, I could stretch them by doing flexion like this. That would be a passive stretch for semispinalis. If I wanted to stretch splenius, since it goes at an angle, if I wanted to stretch the right splenius, which does ipsilateral rotation, I would bring her neck into contralateral rotation. And then I can feel a little different set of muscles tighten, and I shifted my fingers just slightly to get that diagonal set that goes to the mastoid process. So this would be a pin and stretch for splenius.
Is that proper body mechanics?
No, thank you. Yeah, good call. So I could have her slide closer to me. That would be part of it. Do you want to scoot up a couple inches toward me?
It just didn't look like it.
It certainly wasn't. It's part of how I have this stuff going on. All right, so this would be better. Let me try to do that better. So I don't teach you something you can't do in a way that's good for you. How's that? Ooh, okay. Does it feel any different? It might feel better too. Sometimes it does. And I don't do that as often, but you can. Let's see. Okay, so that's the first one. And of course I usually do both sides. And it's a nice thing to do early on, warming up the neck. And I often do the shoulder pressing version. I don't as often do the standing. Or when I do, I more likely do it as part of a bigger thing that isn't on here, but sometimes if we have time, we play with it. We'll see how the time is going.
I have time.
Remind me, let's make sure we get through all of these easily by 3:30. If we're early, remind me to do the off-table neck stretch.
Okay.
Okay. SCMs. So here. You can do deformation, so you can grasp them between, not so much your fingertip, but the side of your index finger. It usually feels better up here than down here, although some people don't mind it down here. But I would ask. And you can do a few things. Deformation means just changing its shape, stretching it by twisting it. You can also sift it. That would be this. I think we talked about that last week as a way of breaking up adhesions, like if you had wet sand in a baggie and you were trying to unstick it from itself, you might do this. If you found a knot or a trigger point in the SCM, that sifting and pinching would be, sifting would be one way to break up adhesions there. When I say pinching, I'm thinking of something in one of the handouts that says if you're compressing a trigger point, sometimes you can press, there's a bone underneath it, like we talked about the one in the traps or on the levators, you can just press it against the bone.
Mm-hmm.
But if there were a trigger point in the SCMs, you don't want to be pressing
Mm-hmm.
that, although that hard enough to press into the vertebrae. But you can press it against itself, and that's where something more like pinching might come in. I don't think I would just pinch and hold. I think I would probably do a little of this, and I don't know. I think it would feel. How does it feel if I just pinch and hold? I don't think that would feel so great.
Sometimes I do it though.
Do you?
When I with
It
my
probably
TMJ, I
works.
get so
Yeah.
locked up that I just
Yeah, I think,
hold
For
it.
It's
yourself.
not so bad.
no, not at all.
Okay, so you could do that too. And now it wants to run away from me. There we go. Oh, running away again. So if it's running away and I can't keep a handle on it, what else could I do? I could sit lightly on it, not like I'm going to try to press it against bone, more like I'm just kind of, I feel like I'm talking to it when I do this. Just trying to connect with it. And thinking relaxing thoughts at it. I don't know. You could wiggle it a little bit. You could also do a little teeny myofascial thing. Have you had that yet? I
No.
forget. No, okay. You could, if your hands are still dry, go like this till you have traction. So not so much that you slip. You've got grip. It's not going, you're not sliding. And I'm going in the direction the muscle goes this way, so I'm lining myself up that way. And I'm just holding. And now I'm waiting for the fascia to release a little bit.
Are you more on the belly of it? Or
Yeah.
closer to the tendon?
I'm over the spot that felt like a little knot, so I chose it by that. It was the knot that was running away from under my fingers. And I feel like there was a little bit of movement now. It won't be a lot necessarily. Okay, so my hand didn't slide over the skin. The skin itself and the fascia underneath it opened up a little bit and moved. Okay. Upper traps. I should have checked. This one's tighter. I should have done this side. No, it's just that you were turning that way. Okay. Upper traps. Same moves to some extent. I can do deformation again. Get it between my fingers and pull or twist it. I would want to do it slowly and paying attention to it. I might even want to do one at a time as I'm doing so I can really listen to that muscle. I can feel the little knot in the middle here, so I could sift back and forth over it. And the one on the right is quite a bit thicker than the one on the left. So I can try to get kind of on top of it so that when I press in, it'll be between my thumb and, I guess that's the top of the scapula. And now I can just sink in slowly. I could do one side or I could do both, and there is also an acupoint here